Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube and BitChute. So both these videos will be uploaded, one on YouTube and one on BitChute. This video is to discuss the Dark Shadows 1795 storyline, and more specifically, what I really want to get into is Phyllis Wick and Victoria Winters. Phyllis Wick is the person who was actually hung for witchcraft. Now, Victoria Winters, did she experience Phyllis Wick's experiences? Yes and no. Yes, on the standpoint of being tried for witchcraft, but Phyllis Wick's experience, her witchcraft trial, to me, in my opinion, took place at a later point in 1795. And what leads me to believe that is Phyllis Wick's reaction to Barnabas being in 1967. In 1967, we see Phyllis Wick looking at Barnabas Collins when time has unfrozen. Victoria's about to come back to the present. And Barnabas is looking at her like, what are you doing here? She's looking at him like she's in fear. She's afraid of him. Do I think Phyllis Wick knows Barnabas is a vampire? No, but I do think Phyllis Wick knows for certain Barnabas did die. I think Phyllis Wick's time of events go a little something like this. And again, this is my opinion. Phyllis Wick did arrive in Collinwood. I do believe that she eventually found her way to Collins Port in Collinwood. The carriage still overturned. Now, I think the reason Phyllis Wick gets charged with witchcraft is the same sort of reason, at least the line of it. Phyllis Wick gets charged with witchcraft because the events don't happen until after she arrives. Now, some people are saying, well, that's Victoria Winters too. True, but what you gotta remember is Victoria Winters never claims to be Phyllis Wick. In fact, she even says, my name is Victoria Winters, a lot like she's always done in her opening monologues. And that she says that she's, you know, she's presumed to be the governess, but she also says, yes, she's the new governess. She never once claims to be Phyllis Wick. Now, they do sort of, at first, maybe think she is, but they know now, they eventually do figure out she's not. She tells them. And so, here's where I think it really differs. Once she tells them she's not Phyllis Wick, and she wakes up, you see Abigail Collins practically already accusing her of witchcraft, already accusing her of some sort of evil deed. And in 1795, witchcraft, it was more easy to prove someone a witch than disprove them, as, you know, Barnabas said Josette's father. He would say that very same lie, and I agree with it. And so Victoria Winters' experience and Phyllis Wick's experience, here's where the differences lie, really, in my point of view, for my opinion. When Phyllis Wick arrives, she is Phyllis Wick. They would have been able to prove she's Phyllis Wick, so they couldn't say she wasn't. And I don't ever really, do I think that came about? I'm not really sure, because it's never really mentioned if it did or didn't. We know for Victoria Winters it does, because she admits to not being Phyllis Wick. She admits to being who she is. But here's what I think happened during Phyllis Wick's trial, to the standpoint of once all the events unfolded, the Barnabas choking, I think just like things were planted to set up Victoria Winters, things were planted up this for Phyllis Wick. What do I think was the turning point? I don't believe Phyllis. Now remember something. Victoria Winters was in a sense arrested and taken in to custody prior to Barnabas dying. There's where I think the major differences lie. I don't believe Phyllis Wick was taken in until after Barnabas had died. I'm not saying she witnessed the actual funeral proceedings, but I think she definitely knew he did die. I think she knew that he was dead, that she was at either the old house or the great house and knew of his death. And then at some point in time, she was arrested afterwards and they had accused her of witchcraft. I think that's what happened. With Victoria Winters' case in point, I think the difference there is you see Trask go to the old house, do the exorcism of the house, and Victoria Winters run out because of Angelique's powers doing a spell. So, to me, therein lies the huge difference. Phyllis Wick, she knew. I definitely think she knew Barnabas had died. And I think, Victoria Winters' experiences weren't going to be exactly Phyllis Wick's because, I mean, like I said throughout this video, she's not Phyllis Wick. Now, here's the part that gets real curious. Was Victoria Winters ever intended to find out Barnabas' secret? I would say no. I do think that Victoria Winters is more set back in time, and I get she saves Daniel Collins. I think Victoria Winters is more set back in time, so there's somebody there we can relate to tell the story through, so they could sort of say, we're sort of telling the story through Victoria. In some sort of reality, they're not really telling the story so much through her. Well, the opening they do. I would say the opening they do. But at times, you're more seeing this story told through your own eyes, through the audience's eyes, I would sit there and say. It's not like we're Victoria Winters and they're shooting this first person. No, they're shooting this just like they've always shot this. You're the audience, you're watching it unfold. And I do feel that's the one misconception. I don't think Victoria Winters was ever sent back to ever find out Barnabas' secret. She was more just sent back so they would be able to tell you the story through somebody relatable. Because let's just say they don't do the time travel necessarily, but they do a flashback with Phyllis Wick. Well, who the hell gives a shit about Phyllis Wick? I mean, no offense, but we all give a shit about Victoria Winters, right? And we do. It's just, guilty. I'm one of them. But I do think the 1795 storyline, how this all starts, how this all is built up through Sarah Collins, Barnabas' sister, the ghost of Sarah. Barnabas seeing her, Julia seeing her, David seeing her. Enough people claiming to see her to do the seance. And at this point in time, like I said, you have Carolyn who's on Barnabas' side. They try to fake that Sarah doesn't know. Carolyn tries to pretend she's Sarah, but Sarah does communicate through Victoria, and Barnabas sort of shakes his head like, no, don't. And I think Barnabas' fear is, God, is the jig really up? I mean, what am I gonna do if my sister literally tells on me? Because Sarah does know Barnabas is a vampire for sure. But that doesn't happen, and Victoria Winters gets hurled back into time into 1795. And it is one hell of a story. I would definitely, if you watch anything of Dark Shadows, definitely watch the 1795 storyline. And yeah, I'm wearing a Dragon Ball Z t-shirt talking Dark Shadows. But hey man, that's just me. But I definitely think that this story is so full of emotion, raw energy, and just the characters. Lieutenant Forbes, Joshua Collins, Naomi, Angelique. By God, Laura Parker stole the damn 1795 storyline for sure. Um, Jonathan Fred, I mean, Alexander Isles, and Abigail Collins. I forget the actress. Clarence Blackburn, who played Abigail, and Reverend Trask, Jerry Lacey. I think they were just so dynamic, all of them, every damn one of them. So definitely go give the 1795 storyline a check out on your coffee box set if you have it. Um, for YouTube, I'm resident of Collinwood. BitChute, resident _of _Collinwood. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later today.